Long before forests blanketed the continents, long before even the first dinosaurs stirred in the undergrowth, life on Earth was ruled by the oceans. The earliest life forms, simple algae, bacteria, and tiny marine organisms, thrived in the protective embrace of water. But around 500 million years ago, something extraordinary began to unfold. At the edges of these ancient seas, a few brave pioneers crept toward land. These weren't trees, flowers, or even ferns. They were primitive, leafless plants, small and humble, resembling moss or liverwort more than anything we see today. They had no roots, no stems, and certainly no wood. On their own, their chances of surviving the brutal conditions of early Earth were slim. Why? Because the land was harsh and unforgiving. The soil, what little of it there was mostly raw, undecomposed rock. Essential nutrients like phosphorus and nitrogen were locked away, inaccessible without tools. Rainwater came and went, with no plant roots to soak it up. And worst of all, there was no protective ozone layer. Ultraviolet radiation blasted the land with relentless intensity. So how did life on land begin? Enter the fungi. Fungi had already been thriving on dry land for millions of years. Unlike plants, they didn't need sunlight to survive. They broke down rock, formed partnerships with bacteria, and wove themselves into the soil using fine filamentous threads known as hyphae. These early fungal networks were like nature's first explorers, mapping, dissolving, and transforming Earth's crust. When the first land plants arrived, the fungi were ready. And what happened next was one of the most important partnerships in the history of life on Earth. Fungi offered the plants something invaluable: access. They tapped into water, minerals, especially phosphorus, and transferred these essentials directly into the cells of the plants. In exchange, the plants offered something fungi couldn't produce on their own: sugars made through photosynthesis. It was a deal struck in silence, in the shadows of time, but it changed everything. This alliance, known as the mycorrhizal relationship, gave early plants the boost they needed to colonize land. They could now grow taller, spread wider, and survive droughts. Over time, they evolved roots, leaves, and vascular systems. They became ferns, then trees, then vast forests, and with them came insects, animals, and eventually us. Without fungi, there would be no forests, no flowers, no food chains, no humans. Let that sink in. The lush green world we live in today, the one that provides oxygen, food, shelter, and shade, began with a collaboration between two of life's earliest forms, plant and fungus. What's even more incredible is that this partnership didn't stop in the past. It's still happening right now, under your feet. Over 90% of land plants today still form mycorrhizal relationships. That includes towering redwoods, flowering plants, grasses, and even the crops that feed our species. These fungi live in and around the roots, extending their hyphae into the soil like microscopic fishing lines, absorbing nutrients, retaining moisture, and transferring information. At Infinity Beyond, we love exploring the cosmos and unraveling the mysteries of galaxies and black holes. But this is a mystery that unfolded right here on Earth, a biological story so ancient and profound it could rival any cosmic origin. Let's break this down with a bit more precision. These early fungi, likely from the group called Glomeromycota, were masters of survival. They could thrive in low-nutrient environments and formed arbuscular mycorrhizae, which penetrated plant root cells and created intricate exchange systems. In fact, scientists have discovered fossil evidence of these partnerships dating back over 400 million years. These fossilized root impressions show fungal structures inside, a silent testimony to the world's first underground economy. And it wasn't just nutrients being traded. Recent research suggests that even ancient fungi may have played a role in regulating water flow, protecting plants from pathogens, and helping them adapt to the wildly fluctuating conditions of primitive Earth. In short, fungi weren't just helpful, they were essential. Today, these ancient partnerships have evolved into complex ecosystems. Forests are built upon this alliance. Coral reefs have their own symbiotic arrangements, and even humans have borrowed the idea, using fungal relationships to improve agriculture through mycorrhizal inoculation of soils. So, the next time you look at a blade of grass, a flower, or a tree, remember that beneath it lies a story billions of years old. A story not of conquest, but of collaboration. The land wasn't conquered by plants. It was co-inhabited, co-developed, co-evolved through a silent handshake of sugars and minerals. A handshake we're only beginning to truly understand. And perhaps, as we face our own future on this planet, we should take a lesson from this ancient alliance. Survival doesn't always come from being the biggest or the strongest. Sometimes it comes from forming the right partnerships,